always begun with Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namah Sanghaya, Namo Gurubhyaha. You will remember the O comes because of Sandhi. Sandhi means the changing of consonants, vowels, when the context changes. So because the Ah of Namah is followed by a soft consonant here, it becomes O. And because S is not a soft consonant, it's a hissing sound, as you can hear. S. Therefore, it stays like it is, whereas here again, there is a soft consonant. We can discuss later what is exactly a soft consonant. It's not difficult to identify. We come to our Mangala Charanam, which means the auspicious invocation. I will now remove the sandhi so that you have the full verse as it should be. Manjughosham namasyami yat prasadat matishubhe kalyana mitram vandeham yat prasadat cha vardhate. We pay homage to Manju Ghosha, Manju Shri, which means he whose sound is gentle. Manju means gentle, and Ghosha means sound. So he whose voice is gentle, whose voice is soft, we could also translate it. By whose grace the mind becomes centered on the auspicious. And I salute the Kalyana Mitra, the friend for auspiciousness. Mitra is friend, Kalyana is auspiciousness again, which is a word for guru or companion or teacher, by whose grace it grows or develops. This is our auspicious verse. We have always commenced with that. I told you last time that we will alternate a little between a lot of grammar, less explanations, and a lot of explanations and less grammar. We do have to do both, because if we don't do both, then there is no chance that you will ever learn Sanskrit. Then you will only be a sort of spectators. So we do have to do some grammar, otherwise we will not get far. But today will be a little bit more of explaining, as announced. So, of course, one of the very important words that you need to understand in the depth of its meaning is Dharma. And before I do the deep dive, as we like to call this in the Sanskrit learning tradition, it'll be helpful for you to understand how Sanskrit words are structured. Don't be scared of this visual. So here you see the structure of a Sanskrit word. It has at its center a root, which is called dhatu. The root can have prefixes. These are known as upasargas. And it can have suffixes and secondary suffixes. These are known as pratyayas. And then the secondary suffixes, they have a further function by telling us which case this word has or which tense it has. Now, not only Sanskrit words have roots, all Indo-European languages have roots because they follow the same principle. Only in other languages, this is less conscious. For example, The Latin word credo, credo, credere, to believe or to trust. They are not as conscious that the root or the original root there is cor dare, da, to give. Whereas in Sanskrit, this is much more conscious. Similarly, in German, when we say, I understand something, verstehen, no German speaker thinks at that moment that the root of the word verstehen, understand, is sta, to stand, stehen in German. Sta in Sanskrit, stand in English. Look how close. Nobody thinks about that in German. Ver is the prefix. Stehen is the root. Under in English is the prefix. Stand is the root. Therefore, to understand is then the word. Nobody really thinks like that, unless maybe somebody who is what we call a nerd, right, in modern languages. A nerd maybe starts thinking like that. Whereas in Sanskrit, we are very conscious of this all the time. That gyan, to know, jnana, jnanam, is not just the same as prati abhijna. Pratyabhijna is not the same as jna. Yeah, so we're very conscious of the root and then the prefixes. And then, of course, also the suffixes. I hope I haven't scared you with this. The root of the word dharma is dri. And it is followed by a primary suffix, which is simply ma. And when dri and ma come together, it becomes dharma. Can any one of you, I know it might be too much, but can any one of you think of a similar process in another word of Sanskrit that all of you know, where the root ends in ri, and if you add the primary suffix ma, it becomes something arma. Dri becomes dharma, and therefore
Maybe karma?
exactly, gri becomes karma. See how simple and how logical also. So when we do the deep dive into the meanings of words, we need to understand also the function of suffixes. Suffix is something that is added to the root. So as in this case, ma is the suffix. Dri being the root, we do the deep dive of understanding its core meanings. The core meanings of dri are to hold fast, to support a weight, to sustain the continuity, to prevent collapse, and to maintain order. And the key meanings of the suffix ma are threefold, which is it can either be the result of an action or the means of the action, or it can be simply that which embodies the function of the root. Which is why, now today's talk is about dharma, not about karma, but which is why karma can both be the result of the action, it can be the means, and it can be simply the action. Yeah. Very clever, the ancient Sanskritists. Which is also why the root jan, which means to be born, related to Genesis. Yeah. Le gens, don't take me for my French, but gens in French is the people, I think, or also I don't know. Genus, right, in German. Jan in Sanskrit. Janma can be both that which is born, and it can also be birth. Nowadays, in modern Indian languages, it usually means the latter, it means birth. But if you go to the ancient texts, it is also that which is born. Similarly, bhama can be splendor, but it can also be the means of splendor, which is the sun. Yeah, so many, many ways of understanding these suffixes. So now we have the root dri, which is to support, basically, or to sustain, and we have the suffix ma. Therefore, dharma can either be simply sustenance or the means of sustaining, or it can even be the result of sustaining. This is the basic fundamental sense of the word dharma. Therefore, you can see a little bit how it is connected to other words that are related to it in other languages that you know. For instance, the Greek word derma, that you know from dermatology. Right? Have you ever been to a dermatologist? We go to a dermatologist when we have some skin problems, and the dermatologist looks at our derma, not at our dharma, but at our derma. And the derma is that which holds together the body, which is our skin. Therefore, derma in Greek is skin, and in Sanskrit is directly dharma. It's a funny cognate, yeah? It's a very funny connection, but quite fascinating. Then think of the Latin word firm. Well, sorry, it's an English word, firm. Latin firmus, right? In German, die Firmung. You know, when the Catholics, when they want to make sure that you really are a good Catholic, they give you the Firmung, the confirmation, right? So the English word confirmation is wonderful. The con is the Sanskrit sam, right? And the firm is the Sanskrit dharma. So confirmation is the sam dharma, right? It is that which makes something fix. So I'm just trying to show you the connections to all the languages that you actually know. But how does this come about? How does dharma become firm in Latin firmus and then firm in English? This is strange. This is called a phonetic change. And this happens quite easily. I remember in primary school, I spent a few years in the United Kingdom, and our teacher, Mrs. Green, would always tell off the other children, the British children, for pronouncing the word through, th, the English th, as through. So small British children say through instead of through. So she would tell them off and would say, no, you don't say through, say through. It's very interesting, right? So it's not only the German speakers that have a problem with the th, it's the British themselves who have a problem with the th. But where does that th come from? Look at the English word through is related to German durch. But in German, it's a D, durch, and in English, it's a th, which British children pronounce as an F. Is that not fascinating? So as we are speaking and as we are living and breathing, we see the same thing happening right now with the German D, the English th becoming an F for children. Yeah. And this also happened in ancient times, where dharma became firm, firmus. The DH became an F in Latin. Yeah, so do you see how this works, right? It's a very, very fascinating process. Then another word that is cognate of Dharma and gives you a sense of that which is supporting is the thronos in Greek, the throne in English, der Thron in German, yeah? Thron is that where you sit on, right? The throne of the king, thronos. And then there is a very obvious one, which is also to endure the duration of something, that which stays, yeah, the duration. And there are, here there's some internal conflicts among linguists, but I think it's quite obvious that truth, even the word tree, because the tree is that which stands firm. Yeah? Trust. This is all the same family of words. That yes, there is another root there. The Sanskrit word for tree is dru. And there is a root, dru, as well, which also means to stand firm. It's also, by the way, the root of the Celtic word druid. A druid is a druvit in Sanskrit, a knower of trees or plants. Yeah, a druvit. And look how close, a druid and a druvit, right? So I genuinely think that dru and dri are ultimately the same root, although some linguists will probably get into physical fights over this one when they are in a bad mood. But I really think so, because it's too obvious, right? Dri to stand firm, dru to stand firm. It's too close that it can be separate. But some linguists say, no, these are two separate roots. I don't really think so. I think they're ultimately connected. So I think I've given you a strong understanding of Dharma comes from a root that means to support and to stand firm. Yeah? But also the means of that, not only the actual action of standing firm. So, in the most ancient Sanskrit texts, it therefore has something to do with order, something to do with the laws of nature, something to do with that which holds things in place. We find, for instance, in Vedic hymns, the expressions of the dharmas of the gods. So here the dharmas of the gods does not mean that the gods have to follow rules. It's the other way around. It's that the gods have put in place orders and rules or laws or principles, which when we follow them, meaning the practitioners or the spiritual people, then we fare well. Yeah, so this is a very ancient layer of the word. Then we also find the sense of a structure that prevents chaos. So it's a sustaining principle of reality that prevents things from falling apart. Yeah, it's all there in the word, in the word. So I'm sure you can start to see how this is coming from the root, yeah, tri. Therefore, of course, things like customs, norms, laws, justice. Yeah, this is all related to that. Then more internalized, we find righteousness, because obviously righteousness is that which which prevents things from falling apart. Consider the following: our Swiss laws, Swiss people, they love laws, right? Imagine I suddenly decided I'm going to drive across every red light. I'm not going to follow the law. The law does not apply to me. What's going to happen? It might work well one time and twice, maybe, and maybe even a third time. I'm not sure it will go well for long. Yeah, so you can see the connection there between how laws or principles of justice, righteousness, correctness, how this all relates together, yeah, into order. It has something to do with preventing collapse. But now it takes on a deeper layer, which is what we can call the maybe philosophical layer. This comes in with early Indian philosophy, which is Buddhist in nature, but there are also other philosophical traditions you may have heard of, Sankhya, for instance, Nyaya Vaisheshika. And here, suddenly the word dharma begins to take on the sense of a constituent element. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with this one, but it's quite obvious. Think about first, the older strata, the older phase, dharma is that which is supporting a structure more externally, but then also ethically with our behavior. But now if you zoom in, of course, the irony is we are using Zoom as a program, but if you zoom in and you apply that principle of that which sustains, you just apply that in greater detail, of course, it begins to have the sense of a constituent element, something that is basic to the identity of something, an essential property, a defining characteristic. Do you see, is that kind of obvious? So I don't only want it to be a monologue. Is it kind of obvious to you how that connection comes, or is it only obvious to me? It's kind of obvious. What would you say, Chimilamo? Don't want to put you on the, but
Actually, actually, I don't follow.
yeah, good,
Maybe
good,
you
yeah,
use other words.
good, good. So where in the oldest phase, it conveys a sense of simply that which holds and supports. Take another word that is from the same root, dharti. Dharti means the earth. Why? Because the earth is holding, right? It's supporting. It's the same root, dri. And dharma, in the oldest phase, is really that which supports, or is the means of support, or is also simply the support, right? Dharma can literally also mean the support. It can be the means of support, and it can be the action, and it can also be the even the result of the action of supporting. So, from a very outer sense of that which is holding and supporting, if you simply allow that to work for a few centuries, you can begin to see how the same word could be used as the constituent, the most basic support of a thing, which is its characteristic identity. Um, where the whole philosophical question then comes, well, what is that? What is the dharma of, let us say, Chimilamo, right? What is that essential characteristic, that which truly supports what you are, right? So there's first it's very outward and then it goes more and more inward. And that's where people get very confused when they see the way someone like Nagarjuna uses the word dharma. They're like, what is he talking about? If you compare Nagarjuna's use of the word dharma even to the Buddha's use of the word dharma, we will get to that in a moment. But if you compare the two, it's just you get a sense of that there's no connection between the two. That's why I wanted to show you this derivation from the outer sense of support to the more essential inner. What is it actually that supports what I am or what existence is? That this more kind of inward characteristic feature, essential feature. So here it takes on the sense of an essential attribute. For example, and nobody's forced ever to speak, but maybe Jutta, what do you think is the essential dharma of fire in this sense? Now, in this philosophical sense, what is the essential dharma? What is the dharma of fire?
I think maybe transformation.
Yes, it is definitely a core dharma of fire. Yeah. And how is that transforming? How does that happen?
Heat.
Through heat, right? So the hotness and transformation are closely connected, right? So that is the core dharma. And obviously then the dharma of water is liquidity and binding, right? Water is a solvent. So here, the early Indian philosophers, they start using dharma in this sense. I think you're starting to understand, right? Then, of course, naturally, applying this perspective, they start asking, what is the dharma of the mind? So you can see how this works, right? So you're going from this very outer sense of supporting the basic structure, and then you go to an ethical sense of that which doesn't cause things to collapse, and then you apply it to inward phenomena. So what is the dharma of the mind? And here, of course, the early Buddhist philosophers, they're already, I'm joking, those who are new to the class, you know I'm always joking, so please don't take it wrongly in any way. The early Buddhist philosophers, they really like, if they were not Buddhists, they would have gone into physical fights with each other about what is the dharma of the mind. So this is not a philosophy class as such, but one person would say the dharma of the mind is cognition, right? To cognize is the dharma of the mind. Then others have many different answers to that, right? So it's not so easy once you put this inwardly, but even outwardly, it's not that easy. So if you ask a modern quantum physicist, what is the most fundamental support of the universe? You know, the dharma of the universe. They will also get into physical fights if they were not, well educated and kind of non-violent. So it's not that simple. They don't have a simple solution to that question. Yeah. So this is where the whole inquiry begins with this very word, and it's just amazing that the Buddha chose this as the word for his teaching. Yeah? It's a word that immediately pushes us into inquiry. So what is dharma actually? Right? So I hope you're still with me. And now, if you have paid very close attention, it's fascinating that dharma has something to do with firm, underlying, supporting, and obviously that which supports should be something stable. Yeah. And it's fascinating how this very word also takes on the meaning of fundamental characteristics, as I just explained. And then the Buddha says these fundamental characteristics of things are impermanent. Sarva dharmaha anityaha. You have already learned sarva from the vocabulary list. Sarva means all. Dharmaha is the plural. Anityaha means impermanent. And if you followed this procedure that I've just taken you through, the very fundamental procedure, you will smile. Because isn't dharma supposed to be something stable? That's why the English word firm and firmus in Latin is coming from it. The fundamental characteristic, something that is stable and is a support. But now the Buddha is saying these very stable characteristics of things are impermanent. That means they're not stable. He's saying that which is supposed to be stable, or which is generally understood to be stable, is actually not stable. Yeah, so that's quite shocking. And you see, the modern people like yourselves, you cannot appreciate how revolutionary this was. He's using the very word that the ancient Indians associate with stability and is saying they are not stable. Do you see how this is? He's not just saying things are impermanent. The Buddha is not just saying phenomena are impermanent. He's not just saying experiences are impermanent. He's using the very word which his listeners, his audience associated with stability. Do you see this? Are you still with me? Matthias, is this clear to you?
The last sentence I was distracted.
So when the Buddha is saying, which is why I am against translations, it's useless because you cannot translate this. When the Buddha is saying in translation, all things are impermanent or all phenomena are impermanent, the Buddha is using the word dharmas, which is the very word the ancient Indians used for permanent characteristics of things, the permanent underlying structure. So the Buddha is using the very word that his listeners associate with permanence and is saying they are impermanent. Do you see how that can never come across in a translation?
Yes, it sounds a little bit contradictory.
Exactly. That's why when he says sarva dharmaha anityaha, that's like, what? Because that means there are no fundamental characteristics that just stay the same. Yeah. So it's not, for the Buddha, when he says that, there is not an underlying identity or an ego that stays stable. And then on top of that, there are phenomena that change. Yeah. So that it is very revolutionary when he uses that exact word. I hope this came across, because you can only understand this if you understand the meaning of Dharma from the Sanskrit perspective. You cannot understand this if you look at the meaning of the word Dharma in Tibetan, which is Chö. You cannot understand this. You cannot understand it if you come from English or from German or from any other language. Only if you know how Dharma is used in Sanskrit can you understand how provocative the Buddha's statement is, Sarva Dharma Anitya.
But then I have a question.
Yes.
In Buddhism, it's in Mahayana at least. I think many people would say shunyata or emptiness, something like this, is a basic characteristic of, not maybe of the universe somehow. But I'm not sure how this is. It's a Sanskrit word, so I assume that's also something very essential in.
Of course, and with that we would be, of course, we cannot go into that detail, but with that we would be in the depth of these ancient Buddhist masters trying to somehow explain what the Buddha meant. So, for example, some of the masters' solution is to say, well, the dharma of the universe and of all things is that the dharmas are not dharmas. Do you see, right? That is the dharma, that the dharmas are not dharmas. And then some other people would hear that and they would go like, these people have lost it, right? These people are crazy. What are they talking about, right? So so you'd have later Buddhist masters would say, oh, well, but consciousness is the dharma of everything, right? So, and then you would have others again arguing back at that. And then some will say, well, the dharma is that consciousness is the dharma, but don't make consciousness into a dharma because then it's not the dharma. So that's what Dzogchen would be, right? So consciousness is the dharma, but don't make it into a dharma. Otherwise, it is not the dharma. And then some who listen to that, they still say, okay, these people are still crazy, right? So, but it's you see, I'm trying to show you the origin of this whole provocation of the Buddha. If you look at the Pali of the Buddha, also then early Sanskrit reception of that, it's very provocative, very provocative. Also that he said that he used the very word which everyone around him was using for the soul, meaning Atma, and then says Anatma. It's a provocation, actually, you see. So it's important to understand that provocative aspect of the Buddha. One really understands him better. In any case, we are still on Dharma. So we have covered quite a lot of ground. Let me think what would still be useful for you. Maybe coming back to this picture, that will help you to understand the next word related to dharma that I will briefly explain. So we have the word dri is the root, then we have dharma, and we can have more suffixes here. I didn't put another category here. The same way we can have more prefixes than just one or two. We can even optionally have three. We can also have more suffixes. So dharma, and then we can add another one, ta. So ta would be an additional suffix. There would be two suffixes then already, ma and ta. And ta expresses the state of something. So the essential state of something. We have similar suffixes in our languages. Think of the English suffix ness. I don't mean the Loch Ness monster here. I mean something like friendliness. Yeah, the state of being friendly is friendliness. Think of the German suffix heit. Schön means beautiful. Schönheit is the state of being beautiful. So similarly, Sanskrit has the suffix ta for that, and one more suffix, but let's stay with ta. And you can take any Sanskrit word and you can add ta to it to express the essential state of that. As you all know, shunya means empty, and shunyata is the state of empty, therefore in English, emptiness, right? Similarly, we have dharma and then we have dharmata, the state of, the core essential state of dharmas, which takes the whole word to an even next level. Because this word, especially in Dzogchen, is so important, the chöni, the essential state of dharmas, the true state or the core state, which is often a synonym of tathata, the state of truth or suchness. And sometimes I get almost a heart attack when I see the German word Soheit. I don't know if you've seen this before, the German speakers among you, die Soheit. And I was like, what? But suchness in English is also quite a shocking one. Suchness? Right? So, but that's why I really, as I said before, I sometimes wonder, is there even any point in translating? Wouldn't it be better to use the word dharmata and then explain? Isn't that easier? So here we've taken you through dharma a little bit, at least some steep entry. So the dharmas, right, these essential characteristics, but which, remember, the Buddha said they're not permanent. And now we have the word dharmata, the essential state of all essential characteristics. That is dharmata. So in Dzogchen, when the first state of Dzogchen realization is the direct encounter with dharmata, that's the word there, yeah? The direct encounter with dharmata. Try to remember what we covered today. So it means the direct encounter with the essential state of essential characteristics. It's quite a tough one. And that direct encounter is then called the natural state. So it should be something natural and not something very sophisticated and fabricated. So is that clear how dharma becomes dharmata? And how this is, yeah, Matthias, is it clear to you?
Yes, I understand that you create an abstract concept or
Correct.
whatever
Yeah.
by this, no? Hmm.
Yes. Correct. Correct. Yeah. And would anyone like to use some other words and create a da? So, for instance,
Schönheit in German, ne? Schönheit. In German we have Schönheit, but I'm not sure.
but no, in Sanskrit,
Sandarata, maybe, I don't know.
Sundarata,
Sundarata.
exactly.
Sundarata.
Yes, Sundarata.
Hmm.
So, for example, Chime Lamo, Chime in Tibetan means immortal, right? It's the Tibetan translation of Amrita. Amrita means immortal. How would you say immortality in Sanskrit?
Must be Amrita Ta.
Exactly, right? Quite straightforward and simple. Yeah.
Mhm.
And if
Can I say patata? We had in the vocalist, I just see pata. So if I make a,
Bata, you mean Bata?
yeah, but it's already known, no? Oh, no. To study or study is
Yes, but if you want to say the essential state of that, of course you can. You can. You can make a da word with any word. Yeah.
okay.
And I want to demonstrate this to you how the ancient Mahayana masters, and this was surely Nagarjuna, he's the culprit for all this because he's great. Look at this. Prajna means wisdom. And then parami. Parami is someone in its greatest form. Parama is the greatest, and parami is to be at the peak of something. And then he added a ta to that. Right? So prajna paramita. Paramita. Look, paramita means the state, the essential state of being at the highest point of something. Of what? Of wisdom. Prajna paramita. Yeah, so that's the meaning of, that's how paramita is formed. You can take any word that you know in Sanskrit. How would you say the state of being a yogi? You take the word yogi and then you add da. So we have yogita, right? So that is
Yogita.
it kind of decodes a lot of things for you, right? Many Sanskrit words are suddenly becoming clear, right? Once you understand da. This is just a joke now. Yutta is the state of being yut, right? No, this is a joke. This was a joke. So excellent. You will recognize this again and again and again in as you go through texts. I already mentioned tatata, right? That is the state of suchness. Tata means something is like that, and then tatata, the state of suchness. Good. So maybe very briefly, a few words about Sandhi. I know this is the boring part, but it is important that that you do slowly understand Sandhis. So we had, I'll share the screen. I had given you a chart with the various final vowels and then the initial vowels. And then we had practiced together. So here, for instance, if you want to say the state of Amitabha, what would you say? Would anyone like to try?
Okay. Amitabha Ta.
Amitabhata. So that the aha, this is the ending of the first case. So this you would have to remove, and you just take the word itself, right? And then you add ta. So then you have Amitabhata. Really, this is a very normal word. Amitabhata, very normal. Yeah, this is not a constructed word. Sorry. Yeah. So, but then here we had this example, right, of the verse Sugata Atmaja Samvara Avataram. So you had Sugata, Atmaja becomes one long A. Samvara and Avataram again becomes one long A. Then Yatha Agamam, again one long A. Then I gave you the example of Dharma Upadeshena, Dharmopadeshena. Yeah, so how the A is followed by the U and therefore merges into O. This merging is called Sandhi. Sandhi means the place where two things come together. Similarly with I and E, Yoginishwari, Queen of the Yoginis. Right? So this chart really gives you a lot. Then I had given you some homework where you could identify sandhis. You will remember I already told you that the Sanskrit word for Dzogchen is Maha Sandhi, right? The great Sandhi, the great coming together, the merging, the point where they really are the closest of what? The great coming together of samsara and nirvana, because they are not separate. Sarva kshetra anusankhyahi. A and A merge into A. Pranamaihi, pranamamyaham. Did anyone try this one? I don't know if I can bring this form into here. Maybe if I make it smaller. Oh. Yeah, I have to do like this. Then you have yes, you have it right next to you. So pranamamyaham. So to undo the sandhi, what do? You go to the result first. It's a bit like karma, right? If you want to undo karma, you look at the result and then you wonder about the cause. It's the same here. So you look at the result and the result is ya. Where do we find that here? Ya. Aha, here it is. It's not ya, it is ya. Yeah? That means this was originally an I and an A. And therefore, this word is pranamami aham. Pranamami means I bow down. Aham means I. Similarly, maybe would one of you like to say or try?
Marco, we can't hear you.
You have to unmute.
Uh,
Sorry?
Sarva 3
Yes.
With I
Exactly.
plus Adwa
Exactly.
becomes 3 with Y.
3. Exactly. Very good. Tri Adva. Excellent. Yeah. Very good. When we make these lines in Sanskrit, this is only to help the students. Yeah, there are no such lines in Sanskrit. So here also, if I make a separation, this is not there in the text. Yeah, so sarva kshetra anu sankhyehi cha pranamami aham sarva tri advagatan buddhan saha dharma. There you go, dharma. And then we have an O. And what would we do? We would see here.
Gana Yuttaman.
Yes. Not you.
Sorry, in English pronunciation, it's Uttamam, exactly. Supreme.
Exactly. Yeah. Uttamam. Very good, very good, right? So this is how we undo the sandhis. Let's do a few more here. So then we have Samanta Bhadrayatmanam Dadami Bhaya Vihvala. So here, maybe Yutta, would you like to try?
It's very difficult for me today because I cannot read it.
No problem, no problem. So maybe Samanta Bhadrayatmanam. Maybe Liz, Chimelamo.
Samantha Badra. Just a second. Samantha Badri.
No.
No?
Wait, just
Samantha Badra, yeah.
exactly, right? It is Samanta Bhadraya.
Yeah, because this yellow, sorry.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Samanta Bhadraya Atmanam Dadami Bhaya Vihvalaha Punascha Manjughoshaya. And then the last one for today, and then we will just briefly look at the cases here. Anyone?
Dadami
Yes.
Atma. No.
Exactly. Dadami Atman. Right? So good. So now here, if we look at the cases, you actually, from what you have learned already, you do know a lot of these cases. You actually know all of the cases in this, except Atmana, which I will tell you, this is the third case. You know all the cases. So look at this, Sankhyehi. If you go to your cases chart, right? If in the PowerPoint, you go to the where is it?
Third vibhakti instrumental.
Exactly, right? Exactly, right? So here, Buddha, right? For example, here. So you say Buddhehi, right? It is the third, it's the instrumental plural. So we would mark this as the third case. And then similarly, Pranamehi we should come very quickly now, right? That is very clear that this is also the third case, right? Aham, you already learned.
First case.
It's the first case of I. And then sarva tri adva gatan buddhan. So here we have two words ending in an. This is also quite easy.
Try. Must be the second case.
Exactly.
Plural.
And logically, the Buddha also. Not dual chimilamo, plural.
Plural. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't see them.
And then look here. The last one, Sahadharma Gana Uttaman. Well, Marco, I'm just putting you on mute because we hear somebody speaking in the background. So
Same.
this is also the second case, right? So now we have all the cases. How beautiful. Now all we need to know is, so what is the verb? And if you look at your verb, conjugations, right? Exactly. Right. In your chart, you see gacchami. Aha. That is the present tense. Then you see here pranamami. Here, right? Oh, that is the verb. So if you like, you can mark it as verb, or you can even say verb first person, however detailed you want to be. Let's just mark it as a verb for now. And pranamami comes from the root nam with the prefix pra. Pra as a prefix has the sense of something intense, something powerful. It is like the Greek pro. So nam is the root. Nam means to bow, and pranam means to bow with intensity, in the sense of really bow, not just as a not a bow like this, like sort of, like that, or some kind of bow, like that, but an actual proper obeisance, a proper bowing homage is called pranamami, pranama in its noun form. Yeah, so it is not just a saluting. Sometimes in English translations, I see translators, they translate it as I salute. And I have to laugh because no, it's really not a salute. It's the Greek is proskynese, proskynesis, right? So to really bow down. When the ancient Greeks came to the Persians, when they Alexander the Great, when they came to the Persians, Alexander, who was a little bit of a megalomaniac, he realized that the Persian people do proskynesis to the Persian emperor. So the Persian emperors, they were like really, quite kind of, they bowed down to them like the ancient Indians. And the ancient Greeks didn't do that to the ancient Greek kings. So Alexander, seeing the Persian emperors being bowed down to like that, being the megalomaniac that he was, required from his generals and his subjects, his soldiers, to also now bow down to him like that, which is one of the reasons they became upset with him. And when they went on to India, this was one of the reasons why they didn't want to continue. You will find that in Herodotus, because Alexander started getting so egotistical and megalomaniacal that he wanted people to bow down to him like to the Persian emperor. So careful with bowing down or requiring people to bow down. So, but we come back to the word. So pranamami means like I pay this homage, like true obeisance, right? I pay homage. How do I pay homage? With homages, pranamihi. Yeah, so this is the verb, and then again as a noun. But how are these homages? How are these obeisances? They are as many in number. Sankhya means number, as there are atoms in all fields. Sarva kshetra anu sankhyahi, with as many atoms, as many in number atoms in all fields, I pay homage with homages. Yeah, so I pay homage with homages as many in numbers as there are atoms in all fields. To whom do I pay homage? Hence the second case, to Buddhan, the Buddhas. Just a few Buddhas, or only the Buddhas of the past? No. To the Buddhas who are present, gata, gone, literally it means gone, but in this context it means present. Where are they present? Sarva tri adva.
Three times.
Adva means the three, literally it means the three ways. But in this usage, it means the three times. What are the three ways of being, or the three modes of being? One is in the past, the other is in the present, and the other is in the future. Yeah, so those who are present in the three ways, in all the three ways. But here the sarva, yeah, is technically unnecessary, but so to the Buddhas who are present in all the three times, past, present, future. Look at the word tri, right? English, three, German, drei, Italian, tre, right? So it's still very, very close. Bhutan, we already covered. And then, do we only pay homage to the Buddhas? No. Saha means together with the Dharma and the Sangha. Gana here is a synonym of Sangha. Gana means the people who are together in a group. And Uttaman means the supreme. So together with the Dharma and the Gana, the supreme ones. So to the supreme ones together with the Dharma and the Sangha. So Ganas are not just some ghostly beings, as people nowadays sometimes say in very badly made Hindi Bollywood movies. No, Gana is actually a synonym of Sangha. Yeah. So together with the Dharma and the Sangha. Then he says, and then we will finish after this verse. Let's see if you can help with the cases. So if you go to your PowerPoint, you would see here under this one, you would if you look for Samanta Bhadraya, you would find what?
2 candidates. No, we have one only.
Only one.
Yeah, number 4. Yeah.
Right, number 4, which is the dative case, which expresses 2 or 4 something. Shivaya, right? A very famous 4th case. So then we have Samanta Bhadraya, to Samanta Bhadra. Samanta Bhadra means good from all sides, good from all ends. Sam is the prefix. Anta is the same word as German Ende, English end, from all ends, but in the sense of angles. Yeah, so that which is Bhadra, good from all angles, not just from the upper angle or the lower angle. Yeah, but good from all angles. To Samanta Bhadra. 4th case. What case would Atmanam be? You don't know the word yet fully how to decline it, but just from the ending, it should be easy to know.
Second.
Second case, right? We have a repeat of Atmanam here. And then Bhaya means fear, and Vihvala is agitation. Agitated by fear, but what case is it? Should be quite easy.
Because we have Svisaga, then I would think it's masculine nominative.
Exactly, right? Is the first case. Then, so it means agitated by fear. So this is the who. Who? Well, that's me, right? Agitated by fear. He's doing something. The author is doing something. This is Shantideva, of course. Here we have a sandhi that you don't know yet. You will learn maybe next time. This is visarga that is followed by cha. Punah cha becomes punash cha. So here, punaha cha, again. Punaha means again and again. Manjughoshaya. That's a word you know from our verse that we do every time. Right? Manjughosham namasyami. But here it is not Manjughosham. Here it is Manjughoshaya. Which case is it?
Probably the same as the 4 case before in the beginning.
Has to be, right? And then we have almost finished all the cases. This one I already supplied for you because you don't know this declination yet of Atma. You don't know it yet. And this is the 3rd case. Yeah. So now you know all the cases. Now the question is, where is the verb? So you're all experts at verbs already, right? Pranamami. Ami is usually a verb ending. So which are the verbs here?
Dami.
Right? Dadami is the verb. And then we have exactly the same verb here. So now we have all the words. And dadami means I give. This is directly related to the Italian dare, right? To Latin dare, to give. Da. Danam is a donation. Dana paramita is the supreme, the state of the highest point of donating or charity, of giving. It just means giving, actually, not donating. But even the word donatus, donation, comes from the same root. Da, right? Dadami means I give. What do I give?
Myself.
Myself. Because this is the object, right? The second case covers the object. But before we say, what do I give? How am I or who am I? We look at the first case to look at the subject. Who is the subject? And this means agitated by fear. Agitated by fear, I give myself. To whom do I give myself? To Samantabhadra, to the one who is good from all angles. And again, cha is and, punaha is again, and I give, again the same structure, dadami, I give. Whom do I give? Again, myself, not someone else, myself. And I give myself. To whom do I give myself? To Manju Ghosha, which is Manjushri, right? The one of gentle voice, of gentle speech. And again, I give myself to Manju Ghosha. And now a fascinating additional word, Atmana. It's the instrumental. So we would have to translate it as what? As through,
I must add.
through or with, right? But does that make any sense? Through myself, I give myself.
With all myself.
With all myself. Yes, exactly. But now I have a very strange question for all of you. I thought Buddhism doesn't have an Atma.
Atman is also oneself.
But if Buddhism doesn't, of course,
in
yes.
a conventional way, I mean.
Exactly. But do you see the irony? So Buddhism doesn't have an Atma, but Shantideva and all Buddhist masters are all the time using the word Atma in their compositions in the conventional sense, which Marco just said, right? In the conventional sense. This is often comes as a shock, to people who are studying Buddhism, and they think the word Atma is like the word devil, they think in Buddhism, and then they see it all the time, and they go like, huh? I thought these people don't have an Atma, but it's all the time there, right? 3 times in one verse. I don't think I have ever seen a Hindu non-dualist use the word Atma 3 times in one verse, right? So the Buddhists use it more than the Hindu. This is just a joke, right? But you have to see how it's used here. Yeah. So it is used in the sense of, like he said, I give all of myself, right? With my whole. So in English, we might then translate this like with my whole being or something like that. Sarvatmana. With my whole being, I give myself to Samantabhadra and also to Manju Kosha. Is it clear from a grammar point of view? Is it clear to all of you, the verse? Yeah. Samantabhadra yatmanam. But now we have to bring it together again, right? So this is what my teacher always did, right? He said, okay, now you have done the extra, you have uncoded it, now you have to bring it back together. Samantabhadra yatmanam. Right? Then dadami bhaya vihvalah nashcha, right? Now we've already changed it here, so we have to find a sha from down here. Punashcha manju ghoshaya dadam yatmanam. Right? Dadam yatmanam atmana. So this is, I would say, is not Sanskrit on an extremely low level. This is quite a good level of Sanskrit. So you should feel proud and confident that you have been able to understand this already. At least basically. So maybe as a little homework, you can think of the question, why is the word dharma dhatu called dharma dhatu? If the word dhatu is a word used in grammar to mean root and is the essential nucleus or base of a word, then what is the dharma dhatu? I won't give you the answer today, something for you to think about. So we will stop the recording, and then if you have any questions,